Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, in this video, we're going to take a closer look at a fascinating little lock from the past, picking it and taking it apart. So it might be interesting for some to see what locks were like in the past, how they were made and so on, as well as what locks we have now. So for comparison, it might be useful for someone for some other purposes. So the lock, as we can see, is of the English key type. The price is 5 rubles and 80 kopecks. The lock itself doesn't have a key. There's no key for it. And now we're going to give it a try. It's currently in the locked position. We're going to try to open it. We're going to try to open it with a rake for the first time. Check. We're going to use this rake right now. Exactly. And after we check it with the rake, which is a tool used to manipulate the pins inside the lock, we'll try to pick this lock using a regular tension wrench. This wrench is essential for applying the right amount of torque to the lock cylinder, allowing us to see how long it takes us to successfully pick it open. Once we've managed to open the lock, we'll take it apart carefully and look at its insides to understand its mechanism better. Again, this might be interesting not just for me but for someone else too, especially those who are curious about lock mechanisms. So, for picking, the first thing we're going to use is this rake, which is specifically designed for analytical locks, to test its effectiveness and efficiency in this particular scenario. And we'll just take a regular, simple and basic standard tension wrench, a tool like this. We're inserting the tension wrench. We're applying tension in the direction of opening. Alright, let's move the tripod a bit and give it a try. So, the rake doesn't really want to work, but nonetheless, we're going to give it a try and rake it. So let's get right to this lock. I'll show you how to properly use a rake. So there are a few options for working with it. First, we're inserting the pick, pushing down all the pins, and then with a little tension, we're going to push through all the pins, moving towards the back of the lock. So like this. First and second, we can just insert the rake itself and simply push it forward if the pins are pushed down and then back. If the lock gives in, we open it. That is, in this way. That's the first method, which involves using a specific technique to manipulate the lock mechanism. The second method is that we can just insert the rake itself, which is a tool designed for this purpose, and simply push it forward and then back. This action mimics the key's movement and can trigger the lock's pins to align. If the lock gives in, we open it. Both methods are effective in their own right, depending on the lock's complexity and the user's skill level. In the event that it does not work, we are going to take the tension wrench, and we will most certainly get it open. So, 99% of the time, this lock just wouldn't open. So, as you can clearly see, I won't keep picking with this rake, and I'll take a comparable in nature rake, but a half round one. So if the other one has more teeth, this one is half round. Let's give this rake a try. The differences are quite small. So it seems that we can clearly see that the pick doesn't want to open this lock at all, in any way whatsoever. So, unlike modern locks from Chinese, Turkish or Italian manufacturers, some of them, the pick works about 60% of the time on these locks. So we can see that the pick isn't working. So what we're doing here is selecting a regular, standard pick, which is a common choice in our process. This involves evaluating various options and deciding on the one that meets our usual criteria. It's important because it ensures consistency and reliability in our selection. Let's carefully apply a little bit of tension to the lock and observe how swiftly and efficiently we can manage to pick this lock using our specialized lock picking tool. By maintaining a steady hand and focusing on the subtle movements, we aim to unlock it in no time. This process requires patience and precision, ensuring each step is executed with care. So the lock has 5 pins. So we're going to take a thinner pick as we move forward with utmost care and precision, ensuring every step is deliberate and calculated. It will be more comfortable for her to work. Here's this little pick. We're applying a little tension in the direction of opening the lock. The lock hasn't been opening for a significantly long time, so indeed some of the pins might be jammed and immobile. We can see that as a result the cylinder has given way, but there's still some pin that's blocking it. So we're going to check which pin this is. We've opened the cylinder. So in general all locks open on a similar fundamental principle. So it seems quite clear that the manufacturer is definitely trying to make picking significantly harder, sharpening the pins, strengthening the springs. But with the right technique, all these protections can be bypassed. As we observe the situation, it's clear that the lock has indeed opened successfully. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes apparent that the cylinder mechanism itself is not functioning as expected. This issue might be due to a mechanical fault or obstruction within the system. To address this, let's take a moment to carefully and swiftly reposition the cylinder to see if that resolves the problem. So, just a second. Let's go the other way. If it's already been removed, let's perhaps check for picking, using the decoding method, how it could potentially be done. We've opened the cylinder in the center. And we can see that with the decoding process, which involves translating encoded data back into its original form, we managed to make one complete turn. So now, in this step, we'll carefully insert this pick, which is a tool used to select specific elements, and then proceed to take another pick. This action is crucial for ensuring the accuracy and precision of the task. So, something like this, as you can observe, is how the process unfolds. Of course, we apply tension in the direction of opening the lock. In this process, we take our time to carefully and methodically examine each of the 5 individual pins that are located within this particular lock mechanism. We're looking for the binding pin. Now let's take a thinner one. Let's change the tension wrench. The tension wrench isn't really needed. In the process of lockpicking, we have encountered a situation where we need to change the pick we are using. The reason for this change is that the current pick does not allow us to effectively manipulate the lock without inadvertently touching the back pins while we are trying to engage the front pins. This is a critical issue because touching the back pins can lead to a false set or even lock us out of the picking process entirely. To elaborate, when picking a lock, each pin must be carefully set in a specific order, and any unintended contact with the pins can disrupt this sequence. The pick we initially chose was not suitable for this particular lock, which is why we are opting for a different tool. If we had continued with the original pick, we would have risked damaging the lock or failing to pick it altogether. In this context, the elbow lock, known for its complexity and precision, requires a more delicate approach. By now, with the correct pick, we would have successfully navigated the intricacies of the elbow lock, setting each pin with precision and care. This adjustment in our approach is crucial to ensure that we can pick the lock efficiently and without error. One second, I'm checking. I can't get to the cylinder. And we can see how we picked the lock. So, the lock took a long time to pick. That's why I was opening it for the first time. If I had picked it before, of course I would have done it faster. But since I picked it, that's how it went. If I had picked it before, of course I would have done it faster. But since I picked it, that's how it went. Now let's quickly open this lock. But since it was revealed, it was revealed. Now let's quickly and carefully open this lock. For those who are interested, let's take a closer look at what's inside. The cover is securely held on by 2 screws, which need to be removed. Here it is, revealed for you. Let's carefully extract this mechanism and examine it closely. The lock is designed with simplicity, featuring a straightforward mechanism that is easy to understand and operate. It has a basic yet effective design, ensuring security while being user-friendly. Here's the mounting bolt, which is a crucial component in securing the cylinder itself. You see, depending on the specific rotation of the cylinder, the axing element is carefully lifted and subsequently moves the cylinder itself, which is part of the lock mechanism. This process is essential for the proper functioning of the lock. Thus, understanding each part's role is important. If you understand the construction of the lock, those who deal with emergencies will know what I'm talking about. Then you can figure out how to open this lock by bypassing the cylinder. I won't be discussing this method of picking in these locks, as it is quite complex and requires a lot of practice and skill to master. So if this video was useful to someone, like it and subscribe to the channel for more content and updates. In many cases, understanding and analyzing the intricate and detailed internal mechanisms and components of a lock can significantly aid in the process of unlocking it without the need for traditional lock-picking tools or methods that involve bypassing the lock cylinder entirely. All the best. Leave your questions in the comments.